Any cases that you have been involved with that have been overturned on appeal?
Well, you're right. That's an impossible question for me to answer. I can tell you that I've appeared at the appellate court in a published decision. That was an interesting process, to say the least. When you're a trial attorney, to go to the appellate court is a far different experience. I don't really know how to answer that question. Obviously, it's not intended for me necessarily, but I would just, since I have about 30 more seconds, respond to the fact that I'm not sure the distinction between 2 attorneys versus 20 attorneys in the county endorsing. You either are in or you're out. To say there's only 2 is a little bit, I don't know, I have a difficult time drawing that distinction. From my perspective, though, the attorneys that have stepped up, I assure you, are not expecting a reciprocal favor from a judicial officer on the bench. We've been approached for 18 years in doing this when the candidates come up for election to seek the input from the local bar. That's a common occurrence. It's something that's done every time there's an election, and I'm proud and humbled by the fact that the attorneys have come out to show that support.
Thank you. Excuse me. Go right ahead.
You want me to go?
Yes.
Well, in terms of from the bench, I haven't had any decisions overturned. As I mentioned earlier, I think when I started off, I've been on the bench 16 months. I haven't had a single decision overturned. I did have one case in which a stay that I had not granted, the Court of Appeals said, well, maybe you should. No, I'm sorry, I granted the stay and the court said, no, maybe you shouldn't grant that. Why don't you go back and rethink that? And it's a technical thing, it's called a Palma notice kind of thing they issued. So I've had one of those, but the ultimate decision came out the same way, because it was an interim motion that the Court of Appeal wrote on. But the final decision went exactly the same way, and was not appealed, so I would submit that the decision was correct. As an attorney, litigator, I mean, I'm certain that there's been a case or two in my 20-year career that I didn't prevail on appeal.
Thank
I sure
you.
couldn't tell you.
Thank you. We've got you all.
Okay.
Go ahead, Steve.
Okay, well, 2 come to mind. The first one was the last case that I tried as an attorney before I took the bench. It was a family law case. It was about a move away. Mom wanted to move and Dad didn't want her to move. We took it to trial. I had to brief that case. I argued that there was in fact a court decision, there was a judgment in the case, and therefore Mother was entitled to move as a matter of law. After the trial, the judge ruled in my favor, and Dad appealed. And the good news is I didn't get to handle the appeal because I'd taken the bench, but the attorney that did handle the appeal used all my paperwork to submit to the appellate court, and the appellate court ruled that in fact I was correct, that even a default judgment is a final order in a family law case. And that was something that not only had never been done before, that the local family law bar insisted I was wrong about it. So that's the last one I had on appeal as an attorney. In 6.5 years doing traffic and whatnot, I had 1 traffic case overturned of the 1,000 or so trials that I did, and it was overturned because the cover on the traffic and engineering survey got left in the copy machine when the paperwork was sent up to the appellate review panel. So it was an incomplete report, and that automatically tanked the case.
Thank you very much. Let's give these guys a hand.